Some areas I think Green Building Council can be really proud of. One is collaboration, both in Australia and internationally. In Australia, Green Building Council was one of the founders of ASBEC, the Australian Sustainable Built Environment Council. They were also leading in the work that was done with neighbours and collaborating with the industry. Globally, there's been a number of Green Building Council members and former board members who've been the World Chair of the World Green Building Council, and a number of us have been on the board of the World Green Building Council. When you look at the net zero carbon work, that was really led by Australia. When you look at the Asia Pacific and the regional development within the World Green Building Council, again, Asia helped set up all the Asia Pacific Green Building Councils, New Zealand and South Africa. I think the one word that really comes to mind when it comes to the impact that Green Building Council has had is collaboration. It's willingness to collaborate with others for the benefit of the transformation they were trying to achieve.
When I reflect on the last 20 years of the GBCA and try to pick a standout project, it's really difficult. There are so many, and the GBCA plays such a leading role in so many parts of the economy. I remember when I was leading a lot of the work in advocacy and doing that so collaboratively across the GBCA membership, we were looking ahead to 2050, and it was clear that over half the buildings that were standing in 2050 would be built after 2019. And what that pointed to was the size of the opportunity ahead of the council and the opportunity that presented to drive better outcomes for all the occupants of those buildings, whether they were residential or commercial.
I think the industry is moving in into a really exciting space. We're hearing more and more about sustainability, social impact, decarbonization, circular economy, nature positivity, and all of these things we're not just hearing again from the sustainability professionals anymore, but from CEOs, CFOs, the owners of businesses, shareholders, investors. And to me that's really exciting because it means that the absolute decision makers of companies are saying sustainability is really important to us, we're investing in it, and we're transitioning away from high carbon intense industries, products.
The next big issue, in my opinion, is how we make sure we can keep our momentum on net zero, but we also need to think about our connection to nature. We need to think about biodiversity. We can't compromise on these things. We must do them in balance and in harmony. We have lost our connection to nature, and I think when it comes to our built environment, we must do everything we can to reinstate that connection.
I'd love to see things around net zero embedded within the code and actually mandated so that all buildings have to achieve that. I'd love to see us do a huge focus on the existing buildings. Obviously it's a huge amount of the building stock that we have available. And the other one personally is I'd love us to see a huge focus on indoor air quality and indoor air environments. We spend 90% of our lives indoors. The average Australian lives to 84 years and we're spending 74 years of our lives indoors. And it's often those invisible environmental factors that impact our health more than we think. The physical and social environments are more than 50% of the determinants of our health. And I think we have a huge role to play in design and in the built environment and actually improving people's lives from a health and well-being perspective.
In the next 5 to 10 years, I hope we'll be changing our paradigm from a do no harm net zero paradigm towards a regenerative property sector. One where we start to reverse the impacts of climate change and also reverse the loss of biodiversity.